All right, they're learning 3 concepts. One is that I have a number and I'm adding a negative to it, okay? And if I have a number and I'm adding a negative, I have 2 operations next to each other. I need to get that out of there and I need to rewrite it. The kids who don't rewrite it are the ones that have trouble. So I tell them to rewrite it. Plus a negative just means subtraction. And 6 minus 2 is 4. If I have a positive or a negative up here, I need to make sure that this negative stays because this is still negative 6. It's just that this right here is the only one that's changing. And I'm subtracting, which means subtracting. So if I have 2 negatives though, this one is I'm starting at 6 and I'm going 2 to the negative. So if I have a number line, and here's my 6, okay, here's my 6, okay? I'm going to start at positive 6, and I'm going to go that direction. So I'm going to go this direction, 2 numbers. 1, 2, which is going to give me 4. That's what subtraction is, okay? But if I have this and this, if I owe you 6, this is I owe you and I owe you. I have 2 negative numbers. That means I'm going 2 into the negative. I'm going negative 2 and negative 6, which means I add them together and I figure out how far into the negative I'm going to be. Okay? So this is negative 8. And I tell them, if you owe me 2 and you owe me 6, how much do you owe me? You owe me 8. The other one they're learning is 6 minus negative 2 minus a negative. This means I'm doing the opposite of that, which means I circle it and this becomes 6 plus 2. So the rule is I can say minus a negative in a couple different ways. It can be, it can be negative 6, negative 2. It can be negative 6 plus negative 2. This is plus a negative, so I would rewrite that like this anyway. I can have negative 6 plus negative 2. I can have, I think that's just about it. Either way, you're going to recognize it as negative 6, negative 2, going 2 into the negative and going 6 into the negative. The other one you're going to have is minus a negative. These are the ones you're going to rewrite when you have operations next to each other. Minus a negative turns into a positive. It's the opposite of subtracting, which is that. And then you're going to have plus a negative, which means I'm adding a negative, which means I'm just subtracting. It's just that when you have a plus and negative and you have a negative out in front, all of them forget to put this back on. This is not changing. This is the only thing that's changing, and it's really not even changing. It's just the way that you look at it. Okay, so for these, 4 plus negative 9, this is plus a negative, so I'm going to rewrite it as 4 minus 9. And some of them are like, no, you can't do that. Yes, you can do that. They lied to you all the way through math, and then they go, oh, yes, you can do that. You can go into the negatives. So I'm going to start, what I tell them is that once I have it where I have my 2 negative or my 2 operations simplified into one operation so I know definitely which way I'm going, I make sure I label my positives and I read it from left to right. This is where I start. This is where I go. I'm going to start at positive 4 and I'm going to go towards the negative 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's negative 5. I'm going to print them all number lines so they can use them, but I would really like for them to have the skill, this skill. If I have 4 minus 4, that's 0. So I have 4 and I subtract 4, that's 0, getting back to 0. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That way they can start to use their fingers and get away from the number line. 4 minus 4, so 4 minus 4. I always try to get back to 0. So even if I'm at -9, -9 plus 9, that's 0, and then I'm adding much more. So this one's 4 minus 9. Well, I know that 4 minus 4 is 0, so I know I'm going into the negative. 4 minus 4 is 0. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's -5. So this one, 8 plus -6, this is 8 minus 6. I'm going to label my positive. This is where I start. This is where I go. I'm going to start at +8, okay? And I'm going to go to the negative. I'm going to go that way 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it is 2. And we already know that 8 minus 2 is 6.